Welcome to the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. I'm your host, Chris LeBrun, helping you achieve your goals in every area of life so you can dream big, plan smart, and live fully. Balance isn't something you achieve, it's something you practice, and it looks nothing like what you've been told. Can I be honest with you about something? The way we talk about balance is setting us up to fail before we even start. We have this image in our heads, equal parts work, family, health, relationships, personal growth, all perfectly divided, all getting exactly what they need all the time. Like some sort of beautiful symmetrical pie chart of a life well lived. And then reality shows up. Here's what balance actually looked like for me recently. I work as a nonprofit fundraiser, and a big part of my job revolves around fundraising events. In the weeks leading up to these major fundraising events, things start to shift. There's longer hours, different work schedule. My weekly shopping date with my wife is put on hold. Projects that sit untouched, commitments that get pushed. By this 50-50 standard, I'm completely failing at balance during those times. Work is getting everything, and everything else is getting whatever is left, which some days is almost nothing. But here's what I've come to learn. Those seasons are temporary and they're necessary. And when the event is over and the calendar opens back up, I shift. I lean back into family. I pick up the projects that I had set down before. I breathe, I recover, and I start going on grocery dates with my wife again. And the thing is that the people in my life, they know that season is coming, and they know that it ends as well. That's not imbalance, that's rhythm. And rhythm is what real balance actually looks like. See, we've been sold this idea that balance is a destination, some static, perfectly calibrated state you arrive at and then maintain forever. But that's not how life works. Life has seasons. It has peaks and valleys. It has weeks that demand everything you have and weeks that give you room to exhale. The problem isn't that your life gets lopsided sometimes. The problem is when you feel like a failure every time it gets out of kilter. Think about it this way. A musician doesn't play every note at the same volume. A conversation isn't balanced because both people talk exactly the same amount of time. A great meal isn't balanced because every ingredient is used in equal proportion. Balance, real balance, is about the whole picture, not the individual moment. So, what does that mean practically? It means giving yourself permission to lean, to let one area of your life take more right now, knowing that you will rebalance when this season shifts. It means communicating with the people around you when you're in a heavy season, so they are not left wondering where you went. And it means being intentional about the recovery process. That shift back doesn't happen automatically. You have to choose it. The goal is not a perfectly divided life. The goal is a life that lets you zoom out and look at the whole, reflects your values, honors your relationships, and doesn't leave any one area in permanent neglect. Symmetry is a snapshot. Rhythm is a lifestyle. So here's the question that I want to leave with you today. When you look at your life right now, are you in a heavy season that is temporary and intentional? Or have you been in that heavy season so long that you've forgotten it was supposed to be temporary? That answer matters a lot. Our youngest son, Nate, came home the other day with an incredible story that highlights someone living for that individual moment that we just talked about. I told Nate this is probably the greatest story he'd ever told, but I also think it has a really good message. And so I asked him if I could share it with you. Basically, he was at the grocery store and he walked out And there was a guy there experiencing homelessness and asked him if he had any change. Well, Nate didn't have any change, but he looked in his wallet and he had $1. And so he handed it to the guy, dollar bill. And the guy looked at him kind of shocked and said, "Are you sure?" And Nate was like, "Yeah, I'm sure it's $1, you know." And so the guy's like, "Wow, thanks." And so as Nate's walking away, he turns around, he looks back, and he sees the guy pouring something into the dollar and rolling it up. He was basically making a joint out of it, right? He didn't have any paper, pulled something out of his pocket, dumped it into the dollar bill, lit it up, and started smoking a joint with Nate's dollar. And of course, Nate is like, "What in the world?" You know, and he's telling us, and we're kind of laughing because this is just an insane story, right? And we start talking about it. A couple things come to mind. First of all, I am so proud of my son for being generous. He doesn't have a full-time job, so he doesn't have a ton of money, but you know, he was still willing to do what he could to help. He had $1. He was happy to give it. So that's number one, first and foremost. Super proud of him for that. Then we started going down this whole path of, wow, what are the major health risks associated with all of that ink in $1 and it's different type of paper? And we're, you know, going down that rabbit hole, like that's got to be really bad, for even worse than whatever it was that he was smoking in there, right? And then you start thinking about how sad it is to think that someone is so addicted that they're willing to literally burn money to get the next hit. You know, just so all these different thoughts going through my mind, and we're kind of laughing about it and telling him it was just a crazy story. But we hear this story, and you and I say, there is no way that I would do anything like that. No way that I would be that short-sighted to burn money. But we do it all the time. We do it all the time. We lose sight of our big dream for some moment of comfort and ease. We prioritize the immediate rather than the strategic. You know, we don't save for that dream vacation, and instead we spend our money on something that doesn't really matter. We scroll a little longer on social media rather than spending time on some meaningful projects that will get us closer to our goal. Anytime we allow short-term comfort to overshadow long-term happiness, we are doing exactly what this guy did with Nate's dollar bill. You know, we're living for that individual moment rather than seeing the big picture. So my challenge, don't forget this story. It's crazy, right? So remind yourself in those moments when you struggle with focus, with motivation, with doing something that's hard, that will actually get you what you want, not to throw away your lifelong dreams for some momentary level of comfort. Use this story as a way to stay focused on the real goal, and life will be so much better for you. I promise you that. Well, that's it. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, for being here for this episode. Check out the show notes at holisticproductivity.com/54. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. You remember you can watch the show there as well. If you got any value from today's episode, I would love to see a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast platform. It's the best way to help others find the show and get the enjoyment, the value, the benefit from it that you are. Make sure you follow at Wholistic Productivity on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Substack. A lot of extra productivity tips and motivation throughout the week. I don't know that I can top Nate's story all the time, but keep looking for great content there as well. And join the Holistic Productivity community on School. It's free. A lot of great people from all around the world, actually, with tons of resources to help you stay accountable and motivated. We also have a whole lot of fun. I guarantee you're going to enjoy it if you joined. That link is in the show notes as well. Thanks again for listening. As always, my reason for doing the show is to help you dream big, plan smart, and live fully. Until next time, take care. We'll see you then.